As the halfway point of the season nears, the Outsider Racing League heads back to where it all began in the state of Florida. Instead of the trip back to historic Daytona, we'll head to Homestead-Miami for the 10th round of the season. So far, every race has been won by a different driver. Will tonight be the night the trend ends, or will we continue to have different names in the winners column all the way down? Kyle Heyer and Finney DeCuna with you tonight for the 10th round of the ORL season in 2021. Finney, and welcome back. Been a couple weeks since we've been here, this time at the 1.5 mile Homestead-Miami Speedway, 140 laps tonight, grip strips, some changes. This is going to race a little different than we're used to.
Yeah, it really is. This is going to be, I think it's one of the first tracks, at least that we've done together, where they've updated with they updated the track surface properties, and for the most part, what that means is that they basically, to promote multi-groove racing, they decided to basically change the code in the tracks, make the outside lane a lot more grippy, which allows these guys, if they're running up near the wall, and trust me, I've seen quite a few guys run pretty much right up against the wall in practice, you can gain a lot more speed and definitely make some passes happen. So this is going to be a big thing where these guys have been trying to test it out and practice, seeing which lane works, which lane is faster. So I think really we're going to get the really true test for a lot of these guys in the race.
Qualifying underway now for our 140-lap race. Only about a minute and a half left. Adam Cabot atop the standings at the moment. Zach Halpern second. Stephen Black in third. Zach Carr in fourth. Homestead-Miami, population about 60,000 people. Homestead-Miami Speedway, constructed in 1995. It's changed significantly since it was first built. It used to be shaped much like Indianapolis until it was changed in 2003. So the track's changed not only in iRacing here in recent weeks, but also in layout in recent years. So Ray Massey back with us this week with the number 23, just short of a 30-car field here tonight, Finian. Every single race this season has been won by a different driver. Is tonight the night that it ends, or will it continue to be a new driver atop the winning order? I mean, we've had a handful of different drivers claim victory so far. Most recently, Bryce KALUSA. Is tonight the night that it finally changes to get a repeat winner for the first time?
I mean, you know, I wasn't particularly good at statistics. I fell asleep for one of the exams I had in college for that. But what I can tell you is that at some point we're going to have a repeat winner. I mean, I would be amazed if we can go the entire season and have 20 different winners for each race. But I don't just see that being possible. At some point, we're going to get it. I definitely think we're starting to approach that tipping point. It really depends on who's going to be up near the front. Looking at the guys that have won a race so far: Bryce KALUSA, Jeff Wright, Jeremy Miller, Angelo Ronas, Adam Cabot, Andrew Telgonoff, Chris Harvey, Zach Carr, Riley Thompson. That's a stacked list of names. Those are the front runners in our series normally. There's few drivers that aren't on that list that I wouldn't consider to be, expecting. Oh yeah, they should have a win by now. So I do think we have a high chance of getting that first one, especially looking at our top two. Although I say that, and Zach Halpern currently listed in second place.
Robert GABA jumps up to 14th in the last couple moments. You mentioned Zach Halpern jumped to second. That's a great qualifying effort for the Downey Enterprises number 26. 140 laps if we go green from flag to flag. About an hour and 15 minutes, but let's head down to the grid here, Finian, and get rolling with our starting lineup. On row number 1, it's going to be Adam Cabot in the number 77 Chevrolet. Zach Halpern in the number 26 Toyota. He starts in second.
Okay, moving on back to row number 2, Stephen Black in the 98 car, and then Zach Carr next to him in the 37, lined up in 4th.
In row number 3, AJ Stravato in the number 33 Chevrolet. Then it's Jeff Wright in the number 2 Ford 6th.
Moving on back to 7th place, we find Bailey Turner in the number 24 car. Next to him, Jonathan Hernandez in the 19 and 8th place.
In 9th place, row number 5, the 27 of Jordan Ashland in his Ford Mustang. Alongside him, Chuck Sweeting in the number 74 Chevrolet.
Back in 11th, Brandon Bauer is going to be lined up in the 31 machine with Ryan Carwile next to him in the 71 in 12th.
Row number 7, Bryce Kalusa, last week's winner from Talladega on GSRC. His Chevrolet rolls off 13th. Robert GABA in 14th in the number 75 Chevy.
Braxton DeWeESE lining up in 15th in the 51 car. Charles Wimbley, in the 99 in 16th.
In 17th, Tim Downey Jr. His teammate starts up on row number 1. He'll start in row number, row number 9 back there. Michael Sturgill starts in 18th, the number 90.
Steve Loving going to be starting in the 18 car in 19th place. In 20th, to find Caleb Weekly in the 10 machine.
Yeah, Casey LAKATOS starts 21st. Ray Massey in 22nd in row number 11.
Moving back to row number 12, Chris Stouffer in the 13 is going to be lining up next to Matthew Close in the 92 in 24th.
And last couple drivers, Clifton Cockrell starts 25th. Corey Steinhauser in 26th, the number 65. That will round out our 13 rows here at Homestead-Miami. Having a look at our keys to the race here, Vinian. Larson line, ripping the top. You think that's going to be a viable option?
I mean, I definitely think so. I've been seeing some guys struggle with the car being loose. And I think these guys are going to be trying to push the car a lot on the top side. I think there's a risk of pushing too hard, especially later in the run. When the tires quite aren't up to stuff, maybe getting the car loose and sideways. So you're gonna have to be careful. You're gonna maybe not exactly go up near the wall. You want to maybe slowly build that confidence and slowly move towards there as the race goes on.
Well, you've got Goodyear Eagles on your tires. They're gonna feel like more like Good Day Pigeons today, probably after about 15 laps. They're gonna wear out. You're gonna drop off significantly in pace. So taking care of your tires will be uber important. And of course, we already talked about our repeat winners. Will we finally see someone get 2 wins on the season so far, a 1 in that column for everybody else? 140 laps here, Finian. Daytime, so it's pretty warm out there today. Have a look at the weather. Right now, 90 in the air, but how about the track temperature? 131 degrees. That's really, really hot.
Yeah, it is really. This is one of the some of the higher temperatures we've seen on some of our broadcasts. We've seen it go up as high as the 150. We'll see as the race goes on. Typically it gets hotter. We'll see if we get that close.
So out of turn number 4, pace cars make the hard left onto pit lane. You're watching Sim TV. Kyle Heyer, Finian DeCuna alongside you. 140 laps. We're racing from Homestead. Green flag flies. Outsider Racing League. Round number 10 is green. Whoa, sideways, the 25 car of Tim Downey Jr. sliding, and he's still not gathered it up. He's going to lose it out of turn number 2. Smash, crash, 3 cars involved. Caution out lap 1.
He was struggling to save that thing all quarter. And he's going to take out a few other victims, as you mentioned, notably Chris Stouffer there, Clifton Cockrell, struggling to get his car back rolling again after only 2 turns.
Yeah, that was a big hit. I think Cockrell got the worst of it. So did the 25 at Tim Downey. He just got in there, kind of bobbled once, almost had the car saved, got up on the apron, and right here just chasing it. LAKATOS does a great job to miss it. Then Stouffer, and wow, big hit there. Look at Corey Steinhauser miss that. It's right on board with him.
See a little bit of bobble, and at that point, can't really see the car. He's trying to just kind of hope and pray nothing happens, and unfortunately, nowhere to go.
Yeah, he did actually get involved there. Wow, LAKATOS missed it twice. Riding on board with the number 50. Here's go.
I think he had a heart attack right here. That was amazing driving right there.
Run out of it again. Across the nose.
And 2 heart attacks in the span of 10 seconds.
Man, not a great start for a handful of drivers towards the back of the pack. Well, we'll have to try that one again. Right now, Adam Cabot is the race leader. The 2-car Fake's coming to pit lane. No real need to do that early. But having a look at the timing and scoring here, Not a lot of drivers are going to shift around because of how early that caution was. What does that tell us about the tires, though, Finian? I mean, it's hot. Is that tires being too cold or the track being too hot?
Honestly, it'll be a little bit of both. It's going to be really something these guys have to feel out. Once we get a few laps in, we'll be able to see if it's really just, you know, the cold tires or if the track is that loose. I want to kind of lean towards the latter because I saw a few guys in practice getting quite loose when they're running, especially near the top lane. And speaking of which, too, on that restart, on the initial start that we just saw, these guys are already going 4 wide heading through 1 and 2.
Yeah, a lot of bravery in the early moments. Having a look at the manufacturers lined up, got a pretty good mix of Chevrolets, Fords, and Toyotas in the top 15. Pretty hard to find an equal balance of manufacturers in a lot of these Oval Series, but ORL has found a pretty nice balance here. A handful of Fords, a smattering of Chevrolets, and a couple of Toyotas populated in the top 15.
Especially with Dark Smoke Racing, they went for the Ford Mustang, so that's the 27 of Jordan Ashland and 2 of Jeff Wright in those machines inside the top 10.
Adam Cabot leads the way in the number 77. Looking back on the season, Adam Cabot was the winner back at Rockingham. If we had to look at a track that's most similar to Homestead, though, you'd have to look at one of the other 1.5 mile racetracks, and even though this track is pretty different, Texas Motor Speedway, that win went to Jeremy Miller, who I don't believe is in the field here tonight. And the other 1.5 mile track went to Zach Carr at Las Vegas. Carr is running 3rd, so I think we have to put our eyes on him as potentially one of the favorites tonight.
Yeah, and he's looking pretty. I mean, he's looking pretty solid. I was qualified in 4th place, he's up into 3rd, so he's able to at least pick up 1 spot of the 2 turns we were able to go green under. But yeah, definitely wanted to keep an eye on, especially Cabot and also Halpern too, because I think that 26 car is due for a win. We seem to actually have some really good performances, similar to what we've seen when he was really kicking it off. So I'm interested in seeing this 26 car. I'm sure he's dying to get a win. This is looking to be one of his best chances this season so far.
Certainly is. Keep in mind that next week we'll be off here on SimTV. We've got a week off. We'll be back at Phoenix on May, or actually, let's check that. We'll be back at Atlanta on May 8th. Of course, are you running this next weekend, Finney? Is that what's happening?
I have no clue.
Okay, well, we'll figure it out. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm at COTA next week. I'll be announcing Skip Barber and some World Challenge action as well, TC America on Sirius XM, as well as CrowdStrike Racing's coverage of the GT3 racing next weekend. Green flag pack in the air here at Homestead, lap number 5. We'll try it again. The 37 covers. Stravato goes to the middle, 3 wide.
Yeah, it was a very big block on the 33 of Stravato, who's trying to make a move to the inside car, saying, yeah, you're going to stay behind me in turns 1 and 2, and Stravato, though, not trying to give up, going to look towards the bottom. You see these guys fan out. Also, lift the loose down at the bottom as well.
Surprised that Jeff Wright went all the way to the fence. Usually you wouldn't think about going to the outside on this aerodynamic package. There's just not enough power to really make that worth it. But here he goes, the 26 car to the outside. There's a big bobble there, Finney, trying to fight the car.
Yeah, he was really loose up there, lost a lot of momentum. I think for Wright, just again with the package, the big thing is keeping the momentum. That's what he wanted to do. It's speed it up on the high side, though. But the problem is you lose so much speed in the middle of the corner because everyone running low is going to gain a lot of time on you. So you really have to bank on the exits for making up speed and making up time on the track and even making up positions.
Adam Cabot out front, free and clears. That car slots into 2nd, and Halpern and Stravato fighting for 3rd. Need a couple laps just to kind of get into your groove here, Finney, and then once you're there, you can sort of then figure out what your lane strategy is. Right now, though, it seems like they're racing pretty hard.
It's going to be these guys trying to feel out the tires and see how they are handling under pressure here. Because, again, you can run and practice by yourself all day long, but it doesn't make for anything, especially in the race when you have to get passing done, right? Already moving up to the middle to top lane. Not a whole lot of drivers touching the complete top yet. I guess it's not too surprising to see, considering they're already starting to wheel it.
74 of Chuck Sweeting joining us back here in ORL, having a bit of a block, a defensive move there on Bryce KALUSA, the winner from Talladega last week. On the bottom of the racetrack, I'm really curious to see. Look at the drivers already scraping the fence out of turn 4. That's Zach Carr that was experimenting with that upper groove, and I'm so curious to see how this lane will get stronger or weaker throughout the day. If everybody uses it there, Finney, I don't think it's going to be that amazing by the end if it gets all rubbered in at least too much.
Yeah, it's going to be a big, it is really going to be a big question mark to see how much the updates that they did, is it really going to change it over the long term? Short term is one thing, long term is definitely another, so it's going to be a matter of if that lane's going to be viable come the last 5 laps of the race, or is only going to be really useful the first 5 to 10 of this race.
AJ Stravato up 3 spots from 5th to 2nd. He's climbing forward. fervent pace right now. Behind them, Zach Halpern under attack from Bailey Turner. The 24 also going the right direction from 7th to 5th. And Halpern from 2nd to 5th going the wrong direction now in that 26, but still trying to make that outside groove work.
Yeah, it definitely works, but you have to hit it right. You can't afford to get yourself loose. If you, like you've seen a couple guys, and just look at the run that he gets. He's actually going to clear the 24 by the time they head down into turn 3, but Turner going to chuck it on down there, try to get side by side yet again.
The interesting thing about how Homestead is that banking at the exit of turns 2 and 4, it sort of kind of ramps up again before it goes back flat. So you can kind of run up the hill and it'll sort of catch you, but if you jump that banking a little bit too aggressively, you're going to end up in the fence, and it's pretty hard to get it out of it. But you can run up to the wall, and it will sort of catch you. Progressive banking here at Homestead. And it looks like that's what Halpern's trying to leverage, but it's not strong enough to keep him out in front of the 24 right now.
Yeah, and 24 is now going to peel back out because Halpern's got a big run to him side by side again, but this time I think Turner's going to have the advantage. Halpern actually decides to go in the middle lane this time, not all the way up top.
Bailey Turner clears him out of turn 4, slots into 4th place. Behind him, Stephen Black in the number 98, and Jeff Wright in the number 2. Toyota and Ford behind the Chevy and Toyota pairing of Turner and Halpern.
And up in front, so I mean, so far it's kind of looking at outside lane, not quite there. I think useful in some situations, but for the most part, it looks like everyone's kind of learning to start running. Bottom of the middle lane really is using the middle lane as more of a top lane than anything.
Keeping an eye on Jeff Wright, the number 2. A little bit experimental there. Was in the high side a couple laps ago, then dropped to the bottom to try to get underneath the 98 of Stephen Black. Now he's trying the middle groove, and this is sort of a good happy ground right now because the top line isn't there. The bottom you sort of have to lift too much. So I think Jeff is experimenting with all 3 different lines to try to see which one might be the best one right now.
Yeah, right behind his teammate dealing with Jonathan Hernandez to his inside. There you can see him right there. Hernandez trying to throw to the inside. Ashland's stuck up on top. He's been slowly trickling back, and there you see also Chuck Sweeting too in the red and black machine trying to work his way up by the 27.
Hernandez the 19 up to 8th place. Just behind Ryan Carwile and Brandon Bowers in the number 31. They're gunning for spots right now. We'll go back to the 2 car at the 19 as Hernandez moving forward. A good drive to the inside of Jeff Wright, and now a drag race down the backstretch to turn 3.
And I'm slowly seeing more and more cars ditch the high lane. Ooh, it's right. It's very close up to the wall. He just loses a lot of speed there getting close to the wall. He has to get off the gas and roll it back down.
Yeah, I'm just keeping an eye on the weather. I don't think it's going to get much cooler than it is. It could get a little bit warmer, but again, you're going to be fighting grip in general, and I think right now it's going to take a lot of commitment to run that high groove because it's not rubbered in yet, but if everybody goes up there, it's going to get too hot and too slick. So I think there's a middle ground of when that high line is going to be useful. I don't think it's there just yet. We're at the 10% point of this race, only 14 laps in, and Adam Cabot is running sort of a 3/4 line right now, about 70% of the way up the racetrack, and it's working pretty good.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's definitely working for out being in the lead with a comfortable lead to himself over Stravato and Carr. They've not been able to quite make inroads. I've been seeing Stravato and Carr, they've been trying to experiment. They've been going high one lap, low the other lap. Just trying to find some way to make up speed on the guys up ahead. But they're getting pretty strung out with the top 3 to 4 guys.
Looking down the order just a little bit, Jeff Wright going the wrong direction. There's a 74 at Chuck Sweeting, and just behind Brandon Bowers is but behind Ryan Carwile, rather, is Brandon Bowers in the 31, who started this race in 11th. He has gone backwards and is trying to get one of those spots back from the 71 of Ryan Carwile, who qualified a little deeper than we're used to seeing him run, and I think he's probably going to race better than he's running right now. So let's keep an eye on the 71. I'm not sure that he's got a race-winning combination tonight, but he could be a top 5 driver.
He definitely can be. Actually, one position behind him, Massey in the 23 car. It's the biggest mover of the race so far, from 22nd up into 14th.
Took advantage of those early moments for sure, and the restart. But here comes Casey LAKATOS doing a similar climb, 21st to 15th, and almost tried to slot in front of Michael Sturgill, but couldn't quite squeeze up there.
Yeah, we saw LAKATOS narrowly avoid getting on 2 different occasions in that first caution being involved, but was able to make his way on through. He's now slowly climbing up the order, ripping the bottom lane.
Clear up, not quite. Sturgill's going to fill the gap. Moving back forward, there's the 31 and the 20, gunning for 10th spot. Move Brandon Bowers up into it. And the lead is coming down. Last time by, it was about 1 second between Adam Cabot and AJ Stravato. Couple hundredth gain for the 33 car that time through. And AJ, looking at the list, has not won a race this season, and he could be one of the drivers to do it and continue and have 10 different winners in 10 races this season, which has got to be a SimTV record. I'm sure it is.
Yeah, I have to imagine they're either at that or somewhat close to that point, but it's a very amazing feat. And it's awesome to still see some guys that haven't got a win this season still up there fighting for it. Like you mentioned, with Stravato and even Bailey Turner in the 24 car having a really solid run. Even fourth place looking at third, right behind that car.
Pulls out a line, goes for the bottom, throws it in there pretty deep. Right against that white line. Car on the outside, winner again from a few weeks ago back at Las Vegas on March 27th, and for now, Carr will keep the spot. And Zach Halpern seems like he's getting his legs back underneath him after an initial slide backward.
Yeah, I'm curious how much for a lot of these guys, we were talking about, you know, the tires coming off quickly, how much of this is the guys that we saw drifting back like Halpern, Ashlyn, and Wright. If they're saving their tires for later in the run, or if this is really just their true pace, we're going to have to see here. Who knows, you can see Halpern maybe starting to kick his tires on and start to climb his way back forward. Not too carefully more behind. As you mentioned, now it looks like he started to look a little bit stronger.
We're already seeing about 2 seconds worth of tire fall off in just 20 laps. And remember that we're going to be going a little bit more than 40 on a stint. So you're going to be seeing 3.5, 4 seconds worth of fall off. That's a lot. So that any tire you can save is going to come back to help you later. And Turner completes the pass for third. And Carr is going to give it up and push him down the front straight.
Yeah, I thought he was going to try to do the switchback. Had a really good run out of four, but decided better up. He's just going to kind of sit behind and ride. No need to force the issue. Going to, I guess, wish the 24 good. I don't know what he's going to wish him, but he's going to wish him best of luck.
Sayonara.
Trying to catch the guys up ahead. And actually, the top two, they've kind of checked out after that little turn.
And Adam Cabot has begun to stretch the lead back out. Was a 10th quicker than Stravato, so it's not a consistent gain for the 33, that's for sure. Jonathan Hernandez and Chuck Sweeting, this is for 7th. That's the 19 car. Is gone forward, but is now about to lose the spot that he gained to the 74, who continues to slowly climb his way towards the top of the chart. Stephen Black, and keep an eye on the 98 car as well. And again, Stephen out of Mid-South, sort of a, not quite a home race for him per se, but continues to impress this season in his first ever time in the Outsider Racing League. This is a race for 5th with Zach Halpern, a veteran versus a rookie.
And so far, Black pretty strong after, I was going to say climbing up, he actually dropped by, I didn't realize he ended up starting in 3rd. Drop back to 6th, so kind of running in the same coattails as Halpern. If they both share the same rows, that got really close out of 2 there, and he comes Chuck Sweeting now with the run.
That was a little dicey as it came out of turn number 2. Have a look at this. The 26 was almost in the fence. Watch the 98 car. The 26 comes off the wall, bit of a panic there for the 98. Hard left to try to miss him. That was certainly a hair-raising moment for a couple of those drivers.
And also speaking of, I want to talk about Chuck Sweeting too. This is one of his better seasons of late note. I'm actually looking here. Of his best 4 finishes in the entirety of this league that he's running, they are all from this season. So he's doing pretty well. And then looking at getting another finish, this would the 7th place would be his 5th best finish all time in this league. He's been running very well this season. Is 5th in the points. So looking to see if he can try to improve, maybe move himself further up, and maybe looking at a chance for the win. Who knows? Yeah,
he's 5th in the standings coming into the night, and gained 3 spots after Talladega last week. It's been an interesting season, though. I mean, looking at the numbers, he's had 3 finishes outside of the top 10, 2 of which were early on, a 27th at Coda and a 33rd at Auto Club. Everything else, well, 13 at Watkins Glen. So the road courses have not been super strong. A touch there with the 26. That was a big save. But it's been a little all over the board. I mean, other than the finishes I mentioned, he's been 5th, 10th, 7th, 9th, 5th, 4th. So he's been up there and competing, but a little inconsistent. I think he's looking for more of that as he battles the 26 hard for position.
Yeah, it was going to look very inconsistent there. He was about to go sliding down into the inside wall. But even back there and behind him, Bowers duking out with Hernandez. And whoa! Down the back straight away.
Oh, that's going to be hard. Big hit for the 31 and the 98.
And no caution.
We're going to stay green here, and maybe some disagreements on how that one formed. But man, that was a big crash. Let's have a look. 31 on the bottom, the 98 on the high side here. The 98, does he move left?
He hits the wall, I think, and yeah, comes down.
Yeah, he just hits the fence, comes off the wall, and 31 just an innocent victim in that one. We stay green, but here's a look off Brandon Bowers. Yeah, not much you can do about that. So Bowers is out for the day. Stephen Black will likely be as well. Let's work our way towards lap number 30 here. Adam Cabot has led every lap so far. AJ Stravato second. Then it's Bailey Turner, Zach Carr, Chuck Sweeting, the rest of the top 5. LAKATOS and Jeff Wright fighting for 13th. And what is happening to the 2-car? Backwards very quickly.
Yeah, I mean, I was trying to say, maybe these guys are saving tires, but there's a point when you just kind of fall back a little too far. And I don't quite want to say that Jeff Wright's gotten there, but he's starting to get really close to after falling back, and he's dropped a lot of positions from running just outside the top 5, as you can see there, all the way back almost outside the top 15 at the rate that he's going. Well,
for Jeff Wright this season has been, we mentioned Chuck Sweeting needing some more consistency. How about the 2 of Jeff Wright? Every finish where except for one, every finish where he's not won or finished second, he has been outside of the top 10, 13, 16, 34, 32nd. It's been an all over the place. He's running 6th in the points, but you're not going to win a championship by finishing 32nd one week, then 1st the next, and then 16th the week after. It's just you got to be more consistent about where you're running. Here's Braxton DEWEESE in the number 51. 30 laps in, and he's made a grand total of 1 pass, and you just saw it.
And then see if maybe you can try to get some more consistency forward. And speaking of guys dropping back, Halper, whoa, just off the wall off of 2. He's getting awfully close to it. He's trying to duke it out with BRYCE KALUSA as they duke it out for 6th place.
Following the 20 through 3 and 4. Notice the line is shifted sort of bottom middle. We haven't seen a lot of drivers just running on the high side as of late.
And yeah, he did actually tag the wall a little bit off too last time by. So he's definitely flirting with death, and now Ryan CARWILE is going to potentially be his fall victim to him next.
Well, I wouldn't say flirting with death. I'm not sure it's that high stakes.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Maybe
walls lava. Don't touch the walls. Walls are lava.
We saw what happened to Black. He touched the wall.
That's true.
Had his car ruined. So
yeah, maybe not death, but
oh boy,
look at this battle really for 7th. Ooh, big slide. The 26 is fighting exit. Over rotation, I think, and I think he's sort of compensating with kind of inducing understeer to sort of keep the car straight, but it's just not looking great. The balance isn't there for the 26 right now.
Yeah, I can only imagine that right front's probably not looking too pretty with the way he's struggling to get off the corners. Even the back end too, so just sliding just a little bit. So that car in general is just kind of begging to come down pit road. Not too terrible of a race for Halpern, but again, considering he started up near the front, I'm sure he's going to be hoping for more. He's also probably going to be hoping for a caution because I'm sure he doesn't want to drop back more. He's got Jonathan Hernandez breathing down his neck now.
Hernandez, the 19, has gone back a spot from where he started. Jordan Ashland in the number 27. Let's talk about him here for a second. Started 9th, running 10th right now. This has been a decent day for him so far, but I'm sure he'd like to break a little bit closer towards the top 5. That's going to get tight at the exit of turn 2. Hernandez leaves just enough space for 26 to squeeze by.
Yeah, actually, now with Ashley now falling clear to Massey, he's making a move of his inside at the moment. And a 4-way battle for position here.
Really liking the look of this 23 car. Up 11 spots in 34 laps. Now, the question I always have is how far is that push going to last? It gets a lot harder to pass cars once you break inside the top 10.
And so far he's showing no signs of slowing down. He's looking faster than all 3 of these cars up ahead of him. He's going to try to throw it to the inside of Ashley now. Look at Halpern and then Hernandez, who's just been able to squeeze by. No, he's not, as Halpern's going to come back on him on the outside.
Massey going to try to squeeze up in front of the 27. He gets there, now back to the bottom of the racetrack behind the 19. Looked like he was going to shoot for the middle there.
Halpern letting these guys on by. I think he's struggling. He can't really afford to push the car. It's just a matter of surviving, getting this car towards the pit window, and then in one piece.
And pit window may be already open for a handful of drivers. Matthew Close has just elected to come on down in the 92. His last lap time was a 35.477, so about 3 seconds off of the best times of the day. Adam Cabot leads by almost 3 seconds. Behind, it's getting a little bit racy for 8th.
Yeah, and actually, really, Halpern, one of the slowest cars on the track at the moment. He's really struggling.
Yeah, once you get towards that 36-second bracket, you're just hemorrhaging time, and you might as well just come on down and get tires at that point. But
ooh, for fourth position, battle going on as Chuck Sweeting working and getting past that car.
Sweeting having a pretty good amount of progress so far, up to 5th place. And this would be for 4th if he can complete it. Got 37 exactly where he wants him, to the bottom in 3 and 4.
Yeah, this is 74 of Sweeting. He saved his tires very well. It's one of the few cars that's still running under 35 seconds his lap time, so he's doing pretty well. He's going to easily get by car, maybe set his sights now on Bailey Turner, who's just on the road.
Turner in the 24. Always a threat. And up to 3rd from the starting spot of 7th tonight.
And Sweeting last time, as he was still making the pass on car, was 2/10 faster than Bailey Turner, so he's catching him in a hurry.
Only driver faster than that right now is the race leader, who has just set sail out front. And the danger for everybody else here, Finian, is if you don't have a caution, Adam Cabot is putting everybody right where he wants them, in the position where they can't outrun him no matter what strategy they try.
Yeah, it's going to be really tough. You can try to maybe out-strategize it, but there's not going to be much you can really do. I think really the best strategy for a lot of these guys is going to be, to undercut, get out ahead, and force the guy to pass you, because the passing, I wouldn't say it's been too terribly difficult, but when you have guys on similar tire wear, I think it's definitely going to get a lot harder to deal with some of the dirty air with guys taking some viable passing lanes away. So, I mean, that's maybe your best bet, especially with how dominant the 77 has been so far. You're going to have to come up with something.
Certainly will, and Bailey Turner is now under attack from Chuck Sweeting that fast.
Hearing word from Halpern, he's coming into pit lane. He's going to be one of the first drivers to come under this cycle.
Jeff Wright will follow him down lap 39 of 140. And are they going to try to split this into, I guess this will be a 3-stopper then?
Yeah, I think they're going to be kind of out of options. They're going to have to take those tires as soon as they can get them. Both of those cars are really struggling for grip. As you still look at Chuck Sweeting trying to work on for 3rd place, now going to rip around the outside, making it look easy.
Yeah, Chuck Sweeting is on a tear right now as we hit lap number 40 of 140, 100 laps to go. Ideally, what's the best way to split this up? Is this a 2-stopper with, lap 45 or probably lap 45 would be the way you want to split this up, right?
Yeah, I imagine you want to try to reach that number, because I'd take 45, then 90, and then you got about, maybe you have to maybe cut a little. So probably more like 46, 47 if you could really stretch it out. We'll see who's going to be able to do so with that, but and again, I don't think it's going to be so much the fuel, more so the tires. You saw it right in Halpern, they're kind of giving up on that. They're probably going to have to make an extra pit stop, as you're saying. Right,
and I think it's different drivers have been able to save more. Adam Cabot, the race leader, still lapping just over 35 seconds. Well, some of the drivers deeper in the field are nearly 36, looking at Jonathan Hernandez as that example. Almost 36 seconds. That is a tire about to go down, is for my understanding. So I don't think he's got a ton left if he beats him up too much more. So conserving them is going to be key, but I think for the leaders, this will be a 2-stopper.
We'll see if they can carry it on, whereas for Servato, I'm curious what he's going to have going through his head. He's been just losing time. He's losing about 2/10 a lap. And again, he can come in earlier, but again, it's a difference of making that extra pit stop or not, and if it's going to be worth it. My gut feeling is no, but who knows at this point, honestly. There is the tire fall is pretty significant time-wise, as you mentioned. They're running 2.5, almost 3 seconds slower than what they were at the beginning of the run.
So 42 laps in, Braxton DeWeese in the number 51 is finally finding some forward progress. And wow, look at the 26 on fresh tires ahead, trying to get by a couple drivers still out there on old tires.
Yeah, I was just watching Halpern and Wright split Jordan Ashland split him 3 wide as they're trying to race on. Look, you can see the two of them flying through the corners.
Yeah, 26 lap down and following Jeff Wright. So they did actually switch spots in pit lane. The 2 car did get ahead. Look at the 2. He's just going to put this car wherever he wants to. They're going to split the 90 car Sturgill 3 wide through 3 and 4.
It's just absolutely amazing. It looks like it's 2 different classes of car facing each other, the difference in the tire wear. So they're actually coming up on a pretty decent group of cars now. I got a decent group, pretty much most of the guys running inside the top 10, a few lap cars to boot as well.
So this is a perfect example of the short-term gain, long-term loss that you'd sort of expect of an undercut this massive at a track with this much tire wear. Jeff Wright and Zach Halpern feel like Superman right now, and they're going to come out way ahead of where they were. That was real tight out of turn 4.
Whoa.
It's going to open up the door for the 71 to get by Bryce Kalusa. Look at these guys just sail through the field. Look at all the time they're gaining, but just think about how much earlier their tires are going to burn out, and they're going to go backwards real fast later in the run. So this is short-term gain, long-term loss here.
I think for these guys, they have to be committed to the 3-stop strategy. Again, if we go green all the way, so I think that's really the only shot they have is making up as much time while the tires are still fresh, because clearly they've not been able to quite save them as well. So they made their bed, now they have to lay it in.
Battling each other here just a little bit. Wright going the long way around. Now the 26 tucks back in. Zach Carr hits pit lane in the 37.
Yeah, one of them now, this guy, I think, starting a next cycle, or this is kind of, again, more where we would expect most of the normal guys to come around. And it's not that Wright or Halpern still can't possibly do a 2-stop strategy. It's going to be really difficult. 5 laps may not seem like a lot, but just for saving your tires, especially when they're about to go down, that is quite a lot of time. So Carr, I think, maybe could bring down a second wave of drivers down into pit lane. Yeah,
it's definitely not a fuel issue for them. They can do it easily on fuel. It's just the question of whether or not they can make their tires last at the pace that they're running right now. Cabot leads by 4.6 seconds. Driving away right now, that is Chuck Sweeting 1.2 back. Still have yet to pit here, but they're about to split this into 3 equal segments if they pit now, Finian. So this is a good time to come on down if you were splitting this mathematically into 3 segments.
Yeah, we'll see who's whipped up the calculator and done the math. It's a hard thing to do as a sim racer. We mentioned in real life you have a team of people that can do that for you, but as a sim racer you have to do that all by yourself, while also trying to make sure you don't put the car on the wall. So I'm also seeing, let's see, it looks like Caleb Blakely and Braxton DeWeese calling out in text chat they're coming down to pit lane. So it looks like a lot of guys have now realized they're hitting the number, they're coming on down. Ryan Carwile as well.
There's Braxton DeWeese coming on in. Don't have to use the access roads here. You can pull straight in. The 18 car a little bit hot. That's Steve Loving. I'm not sure if he got it down to pace, but if he did, that was pretty darn close.
His tire's not going to be loving him after that.
No, certainly not.
I love to see what these guys' tires look like, because they're probably not too good.
There's the 33 of AJ Stravato hitting pit lane. Chuck Sweeting continuing. Whoa, that's hot.
Ew.
That was, again, an aggressive entry. Chuck Sweeting drove around the 33 as he came to pit lane, so he started this race back in 10th spot, drove to 2nd on this run.
Yeah, this is a very amazing drive from Chuck Sweeting. I'm really curious if we do get a caution, it comes down to him battling with the 77 again. As far as raw pace is concerned, I'm not quite sure he has it. Long-term pace, he may have something for the 77, so who knows? He's got a big deficit to make up. Those 6 seconds back.
Lap number 50, Adam Cabot to pit lane. He'll not lead the 50th lap as Chuck Sweeting goes around the racetrack, not spinning. Sounded like Rick Allen there for a second.
Yeah, and pretty much everyone came down the last lap or 2. So we're waiting on most of the guys to still come on down. Looks like Chuck Sweeting, Turner, LAKATOS, and Hernandez yet to hit.
Yeah, only 4 drivers have yet to come hit pit lane, and the front 4 are those drivers. Chuck Sweeting out of turn 4, going to get on the binders and head on down. And Bailey Turner and others, they're going to stay out another lap, it looks like.
Yeah, it looks like they're going for the overcut. I mean, I guess they're trying something. Might as well.
I like this better. I like the overcut. We've got so much race left that getting ahead on the strategy in this way is much better for the long term than an undercut strategy is. Now, the question for Bailey Turner is, can he do this significantly enough over Adam Cabot to actually make this worth anything? That's the real question.
Yeah, I don't quite think so, which is the unfortunate part. I think he's going to be hoping maybe something like a caution comes out off sequence to kind of get him back with everyone, but it looks like he's coming down pit lane, and this time by Casey LAKATOS would leave the remaining car to be out on track. And oh boy, Casey may want to come down pit lane because it looks like it's seconds from going down, but he will lead a lap.
Lap led for the number 50. 35.7 was his lap time last time by.
As his right front screams at him to come down pit lane.
So the driver that's going to cycle to the race lead is going to be Jeff Wright and Zach Halpern in tow. There you see Adam Cabot in the 77 though, and it's a 10, or make that an 11 lap difference. So it's, the 77 is going to make pretty short work of them. And I just wonder if the 2 and 70, the 2 and the 26, if they finish this run in a net position farther up forward than they were when they came to pit lane, this was a success, but I just don't see that happening.
No, again, considering at the rate they're going at, they're going to have to make an extra pit stop. They're going to have to make that up, and I mean, again, it might actually help them, maybe not as far as the race would concern, may not help them, but as far as where they're positioned for compared to the rest of the field, you could see them potentially benefiting from this.
Adam Cabot just drives right by him like they're standing still. That's what the difference is on 11 lap fresher tires. So Cabot will go back to the race lead and enhance his coverage of the top spot. Now, going back to Bailey Turner, who stayed out a little bit longer, he came out way down in 14th place, and with only a 2-lap difference in tires. Now, I like the overcut strategy, Finney. We've got enough time left in the race to make it work, but you've got to have an overlap like Adam Cabot does over Wright and Carr. I don't think a 2-lap difference is enough to really mean a whole lot.
No, it isn't. I'm also looking at Chuck Sweeting, to remember, was second, third by the time he came down, by the time the pit sequence started. So now running all the way back in 8th place, 9 seconds back. So he lost about 3 seconds waiting for those extra laps to come on down. Big question is now, can he use the tire advantage that he has? Again, it's not too terribly big, but it's something. If he can use that to his advantage, maybe try to claw back up.
About 15 laps from our halfway point here where points will pay out. And looking at the season, we already mentioned that the different winners, but looking at the points leader is Ryan Carwile by 9 points over Bryce KALUSA. So the 71 has had one of the most consistent seasons so far. All but 3 races he's been in the top 10. And that he had a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 race streak of top 10s up until last week at Talladega. So this 71 car, he's just got to keep doing what he's doing because it's working.
Yeah, and also want to take a look too at Bryce KALUSA as well. It's an arguably more consistent driver. From Bryce KALUSA, of the 8 races he's started, he's finished 7 of them in the top 10, 5 in the top 5, and also has a win to his name. He's also running in the top 10, running 9th at the moment.
Halpern and Jeff Wright trade spots for 4th. Zach Carr had moved into 2nd. AJ Stravato in 3rd. And again, Carr's got 3-lap older tires than Stravato, so I'd expect AJ to drive by him in just a little bit. Getting into the meat in the middle portion of this race, where you're sort of just clicking off laps here, Finney, and so we've learned who would beat up their tires and who was able to save them. But now when you're not directly racing anybody, it feels like it's a little easier to pace yourself.
Yeah, that's kind of the hope too, is that now you can really, with everyone very spread out on different strategies to one another, you gotta get your head down and just kind of run the laps you need to. Because it's an overarching battle to this. We've seen with that with Wright and Halpern, they've been fairly kind to each other from what it seems, at least on camera. They're respecting each other's race, not trying to ruin each other's tires, because they know that they're trying to make an extra stop work or whatever strategy they're actually trying to pull off. So it matters just taking off the laps, as you mentioned, at a decent rate, and also really just not burning up the tires.
It's Bryce KALUSA, last week's winner. 2nd place in points, running 8th right now. Just got by Matthew Close, the 92, for that spot. Up 5 on the day. And on 9-lap old tires, roughly equivalent to Stravato and race leader Adam Cabot. '71 car of Ryan Carwile about to break inside the top 5. And remember what I said earlier, he started a little ways back, and that wasn't where he was going to finish. Look at him up to 5th and continuing his charge forward. I think he'll be a factor by the end of this, and so will Chuck Sweeting on 5-lap, I think that 3-lap fresher tires. He should go by here easily inside the top 5.
Yeah, I definitely expect to finish him maybe in the top 3 at the rate we're going at. If Gosh comes out, it's going to change a lot, so not quite sure then, but it's been a very impressive performance. This will be if he finishes higher than 4th, he's highest finish in this league.
To the inside goes Sweeting on CARWILE, puts him back to 6th. But Halpern goes up the racetrack, and this will be 26 slipping out of the top 5, and CARWILE going into it. Not even halfway through the second run. I'm a little bit concerned about Jeff Wright, especially. Already down into the 35-second bracket. They are just not able to keep the pace in those tires. That's a 1.5 seconds slower than the lap times the race leaders are running right now.
Yeah, they're, as you mentioned, they're going to be due for coming down on about 20 laps time, maybe a little bit less. So, and even at that rate, so let's see, so they would be due to come in at around lap 80. So yeah, they're going to be pretty off kilter. So they got to come up with something or figure out a better way to save some rubber. Slowly start to drop back to the fresher drivers in the field. They work their way forward.
Adam Cabot is making this look super decisive. Again, his race that he won earlier this season was back a little ways, back at Rockingham on March 13th. And going back to that race, Cabot led 56 laps, and he has led 57 today. So already led more laps today than he did in his win back last month. That was totally coincidence, by the way. I wasn't waiting to share that fact.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, it's been a very dominant performance. I really can't see anyone beating this 77 car unless a caution comes out. I'm sure that's what CARR, Servato, Sweden are all licking their chops at. If a caution comes out, they can get a chance. And especially, I can imagine these guys learned quite a lot over the last run and a half we've had. And now they can really attack the race and get a little bit better with that. But again, we have a large deficit. This guy has been sailing away.
5.2 seconds is the lead. Not even really that close right now, is it? Here's Halpern dropping a spot to Bailey. Oh, I lied to Bryce KALUSA. Bailey Turner just beyond this. Remember, Bailey Turner was up in about 3rd or 4th spot before. He's up to 8th, and his pace is about evened out with Adam Cabot, but it is still quicker than the majority of the drivers in front of him. So this might pan out, but again, I think you got to get more overlap than he had to make that overcut work.
Also look at Massey in behind in 9th position in the 23. It's been a nice solid climb forward for the 23 car, and again he's got, as you mentioned, fresh tires. Then looking to pass Halpern, and has already gotten past Wright back in 10th.
5 laps to halfway. And Zach Carr running 2nd. It's got AJ Stravato running him down. And Carr and Cabot have won. Stravato has not yet. Neither has Chuck Sweeting or Ryan CARWILE. So anybody from 3rd, 4th, or 5th would be a new winner. So would Bailey Turner in 7th, Halpern in 8th, Ray Massey and Michael Sturgill in 8th, 9th, and 10th. With the 33 up on the rim, trying to run the Larson line up there, Vinny, and it seemed like it worked a little bit.
Yeah, I think he's trying to get out of this. You're facing some dirty air running in behind. Problem is that you kind of have to run the dirty air because quickest lane is looking to be more so towards the bottom.
Home race today for AJ out of Florida, for Zach Carr out of Michigan, so home track advantage maybe for the 33.
Let's take a look. I want to take a look at some other Florida drivers. Tim Downey Jr. in the 25, Chuck Sweeting in the 74, and Zach Halpern in the 26, all from Florida.
Sweeting, it's a good day. The 25 and Tim Downey Jr., he was involved in the crash on lap number 1, and he is now out of the race. So is Brandon Bauer, Stephen Black, and Clifton Cockle. So 4 drivers out, 22 remain on course, 4 of them a lap down from Corey Steinhauser on 19th on back. Everybody else still rolling, and battle for 2nd, heating up here. Carr, the back of Stravato.
Yeah, Stravato is able to get back in turns 3 and 4. Carr trying to maybe see if he can attack the 33 back. We expected to see Stravato get the position, but let's see Carr trying to get back and you can see losing how much time, or a lot of time in the mid to late corner, and gonna pretty much be decisive there on him.
You see in the background that black, yellow, and red car. That is Chuck Sweeting creeping into the picture and continuing to run these guys down at about a ½ second a lap, on pace with the race leader Adam Cabot, who now sports a 6.3 second lead as we hit 2 laps to halfway.
Yeah, I really think for Sweeting, I don't think staying out quite worked out in his favor. As you mentioned, the gap's been maintained arguably too well, at still 9 seconds back. He is not made any inroads. He has been getting making more time on his competitors though, so should be able to at least fight for second or third.
Bailey Turner is passing Bryce KALUSA for 6th. Another thing that's keeping Bailey Turner's overcut from being successful is the fact that he dropped so far into traffic that he's had to use up his tires passing people back. Now, late in the race, when there's not so many people on the lead lap, I think it's a little different. Right now, though, he's had to claw his way back forward pretty aggressively, and he's not quite done with KALUSA yet either. Yeah,
I think another driver that stayed there just a little bit too long. I think the guys came around lap 46, 47 really benefited a lot. Guys came around like lap 50, 51, such as Sweeting and Turner. They seem to have a little bit more work cut out for them than we'd probably like.
Stravato's gotten around CARR and now is trying to drive away. Chuck Sweeting, we're still reeling him in just little by little. You'll see him pop into the back of that shot, hitting lap number 70 this time through. Next time by, we'll award halfway points, and they'll go, at least the majority of them will go to Adam Cabot, who again looks pretty unstoppable on the night. And again, I don't think there's any way, once a race gets to this point, Fitting, the only way that you can beat someone like Adam Cabot is if he makes a mistake on pit road, which he's only going to pit one more time, or you get a caution that resets things. And even then, I still think the 77 is the fastest car out here.
Yeah, it's going to take a lot to usurp the 77 at this point. He's done a fantastic job. Arguably, the dominant, not to argue, actually. He's the dominant car of this race. But 66 laps is 71, and I think that proportion is going to continue a lot longer into this, even when we get to the green flag stops to Massey. Speaking of which, Jeff Wright down to the pit lane. A little bit, it was a lot earlier than I would expect. Only 30 laps in for him.
Right, and that's a little surprising. Now, so he'll probably run another 30 to 35 lap stint, come down and get tires again. But what is he banking on? I mean, it didn't work out the first time. Why would it work out a second time?
I mean, you get, like I said, you kind of made your bet. I have to lay in it because I think the problem is they can't really afford to be back with everyone. They have to go another extra 10 or so laps, not only than the normal amount, but also further than that, so, which I don't think is possible. So I think at this point they're just trying to hope for the best, hope that they can make up some amount of time with the 3 extra stops. I mean, looking at Halpern, it's not too bad. He's up in 10th, so I've seen worse work out. So we'll have to see how he's going to play. He looks like he's going to continue out on the track. Just look at DEWEESE fighting with LAKATOS. Yeah,
LAKATOS up to, whoa, that was a bit of a bobble there for the 51. Caught the fence at a turn 2. LAKATOS drives by from 21st to 13th. His climb going well. DEWEESE has been frustratingly stagnant, I think, today. Started in 15th spot and hasn't really ventured far outside of a 3-car bubble around there. And here comes the 2 looking like Superman again on fresh tires. MASSEY, the number 23. Our excitement for him early in the day, I think, has qualmed a little bit. Again, he's stopped dead here in 8th spot. He's still gaining a little bit of ground on KALUSA, but I think he needs a reset.
Up ahead off of turn 2, KALUSA in the 69, caution out.
Well, I was about to say he needed a caution, and there it is, caution out for the second time today, right after a halfway. And the 2-car of Jeff Wright is trapped a lap down. We'll have to take the wave around here, as last week's winner tangles with Corey Steinhauser in the 65, who's a lap down. What's happened?
The 65 tire went down on him. He hit the wall, came off the wall, nowhere for KALUSA to go.
Yeah, KALUSA just a victim there. Similar to what we saw earlier, except down the back straightaway instead of out of turn 4 like just there. But the 20 car is significantly damaged in that. That's really unfortunate. Cabot is going to pick up the pace car on the backstretch. And what do you do now? I mean, this is a little early for your final pit stop, I would think. Very early. 65 laps is too far.
Yeah, this is very early. And again, I don't think you guys want to push those tires too much further than they already did on the last run. I think 50 is looking to be about a sweet spot for these guys to push to. I think really now is going to be essentially a one-stop race. And this could be very helpful for guys like Halpern, who are only really able to go about 30 laps before they really started to see the wear get too bad. That's going to benefit him. Like you said, for Jeff Wright, he's going to get a little bit caught up, but actually it's not too bad for him. Should be able to take the wave around here, and it's not going to be on too terribly old tires to see everyone come down a pit lane.
Tire field's going to come on down, except for Jeff Wright and maybe a couple other stragglers that would like to get a wave around at this point. And this could shake things up. Cabot's led the vast majority of laps to this point. And again, the only way that someone was going to be able to wrestle this away is on a restart. And I think we're going to see a lot of aggression at the front just to try to get that 77 out of the top spot. So tires going on. 4 tires, an easy choice here today, given the tire wear that we've had. Let's have a quick look at our weather. It is now up, well, it's actually dropped to 123 degrees Fahrenheit to
wow.
A lot of people's happiness to see. And Cabot will win the race off pit lane, 33, 37, 74. No changes in the top 5 there as we roll off pit road.
This is going to be interesting. So this is going to break up the monotony for a lot of these guys. You know, you're kind of just out there turning laps, casually turning the steering wheel every 10, 15 seconds. But now it's going to be all these guys are going to be back on each other. It's going to be less about pacing yourself. Now it's going to be go time. We're just past halfway through this race. Finally get back up and start racing again, especially guys like Stravato, CARR, and even Sweeting and CARWILE for that matter, who potentially have cars that can at least stick with him on a longer run, but now it's going to be a matter of seeing if they can get past on the shorter one and keep that 77 back in traffic.
You're watching the Outsider Racing League from Homestead-Miami Speedway, the 10th round of the season here on Sim TV. Next up is going to be Phoenix next week, followed by Atlanta, Road America, our second road course of the, or maybe that third road course of the season, then New Hampshire, Daytona, Chicago, North Wilkesboro, Nashville, Dover, and Darlington to finish out the rest of the season. Really excited for Road America finishing on May 15th. Always look forward to going to the National Park of Speed, especially with stock cars.
Yeah, it's put on some fantastic racing. It's a fantastic racetrack in general. So really looking forward to getting going, especially in stock cars. You see some fantastic stock car races there in general. Especially going to be nice with the actual NASCAR series finally, the Cup Series at least, finally making their debut at that track. I think that in real life it's going to be a great race. I'm looking forward to seeing these guys get loose in Wisconsin.
So looking down the rest of the races for the season, we head back to Daytona on June 19th, which is a rarity here in ORL. Don't typically visit tracks twice. We are doing that on the 19th, and it'd be good to go back to Daytona in the middle of the summer. That's always fun, but it's going to shake things up a little bit on the run down to the championship. Still got a long way to go in the season, not even quite to halfway yet. I think looking at Phoenix next week will be our halfway point of this very long season. We'll come to a close on July 31st at the track Too Tough to Tame. What else is up on Sim TV? Well, not much in the foreseeable future. We've got, of course, next week the Fuel Mission 22 Premier Series, their penultimate round from Martinsville on the 27th. The DC Region SCCA Virtual Racing League from Road America on April 28th. Then, of course, the Porsche Esports Sprint Challenge Canada to be myself and Andrew Cardinale from Hockenheim on the 13th. Check that on the 29th of April at Laguna Seca. So a lot of fun stuff coming up. The Indy Elite Series will not return until June 15th at Road America. A lot of Road America coming up on the schedule. That makes me happy.
Everyone knows it's a really good track, and yeah, if you definitely like Road America, definitely stay tuned within the next month or so. It's going to get quite a lot of action, quite a lot of different cars heading there.
Home track for me is Watkins Glen, but with my move to Chicago to work for Grid Life, Road America has become the home track, and I'm going to say I'm not really complaining. It's a pretty good place to have nearby.
That's a fairly good trade, I would say.
Yeah, but it's a little farther away, about 3 hours versus the 1.5 that took me to get to the Glen. But the ultimate irony is I haven't been to the Glen in about 2 years, and I miss that place. It's been a long time since I've been, so I'd like to go back sometime soon. These drivers would like to go back to the green sometime soon. It'll be laps number 79, approaching 60 laps to go. Cabot out front. He has the majority laps today. AJ Stravato in the 33. He is winless this season. Would love to change that. Green flag back in the air from Homestead. Oh, trouble behind him. Spin, slide. Matthew close out of control. Can he save it? Looks like he does. Good job there, Matthew, to hang on to that one. That was a wild slide for a moment. 3 wide, 26 to Halpert in the middle.
Everyone vying for position because they know that it's going to get only significantly hard as the run goes on. Going to door the 24 just a little bit. as for dips below the apron. He's going to hold on, but lose a ton of speed. Oh, Halpern lose Huff it too as well. Oh boy.
Gathered it back up, stacking up the field though behind him. Ray Massey on the outside keeps overlap.
For the lead, AJ Servato throwing up the inside of Cabot. Can't quite keep it going there. I saw Cabot throwing the block, trying to keep it behind Servato. He's trying to go for the lead. He knows now's the time to do it.
60 laps to go, and it's racing out front right now. Casey LAKATOS in the 50, bringing his nose into the mix. Ray Massey, the 26 of Halpern, the 24 of Bailey Turner, all on top of each other in turns 1 and 2.
Trying to get to the inside of Halpern yet again, but can't quite get the car to stick. He's struggling to get by, and speaking of getting by here, Chuck Sweeting throwing a move on Zach Carr for 3rd place.
Oh, that's going to be a touch. Door slam, 37, way up the racetrack.
Oh, Ryan Carwile making a move on Carr. They're going 3 wide just ahead of them. These guys are getting all stacked up. Your car a little bit sideways in one.
He still hasn't gathered it all the way back up. Now he finally does. Had the wheel sort of cocked to the right there for a couple hundred feet. I was going to slop back in. Bit of a bobble out of the 24. There's Michael Sturgill creeping into the mix in the number 90. But out front, Cabot, again, trying to set sail on AJ Servato. AJ trying to keep him close, but I just don't think anyone can do it.
Yeah, he was really close that last time to making a move up the inside, but just wasn't quite there. It's still not over and done yet. He looks like he's maintaining. I think he's trying to wait for a moment to build up a run, trying to methodically get past Cabot, but he's kind of running out of time. The more we get, the more green runs we have.
Single filing out now down the back straightaway. There's Sturgill and LAKATOS door to door, and Hernandez in 11th. And LAKATOS would like to squeeze in between them, and he will. Big understeer through the center of the corner, though, and tire marks out the rear wheels as he slides out of 4. Servato gained a little bit on Cabot that time. It's so hard. What do you do? I mean, Cabot's got that thing locked on the bottom. I just don't know if Servato can run him down, but if he can, that's impressive.
Well, these guys have bumpers, and I think when it's hard to pass, might as well use it. So Dale Senior race.
It's getting close. Chuck Sweeting isn't too far back. I think what these guys really need is these front two to go at it for a lap or two just to bring in the group behind them. Sweeting, Carr, and CARWILE.
That time by Chuck Sweeting, fastest car on track.
He is running about a lane higher up the racetrack, carrying a bit more momentum, and it's gaining him a lot of ground here. And Cabot now feeling a lot more pressure from Servato.
Servato getting some nice runs down these straightaways, using a little bit of slipstream as well to help, but also getting some good runs off the corner to boot. You see him going high on entry, diving down a little bit lower on exits, trying to stay out of the direct wash from Cabot up ahead.
So impressed with how Cabot can get back in the throttle. He got back to throttle about 50 or 60 feet before Servato, and that's really where he's gaining all that ground. And then Chuck Sweeting, a lot more efficient line here, running the lane up, carrying a bit more speed and closing it again. That time was a full 10th faster than both drivers in front of him.
Yeah, really Sweeting doing exactly more what we want to do in open wheel cars, like an Indy car. Just get completely out of the lane, trying to keep that car even cleaner as much as possible. Kind of like what Cabot's dealing with. He's got no cars ahead, got perfectly clean air to work with. So Sweeting trying to do something similar. It's been working out, although now it looks like Servato, he's kind of stalled out.
Bryce KALUSA hits pit lane, and that car with a cloud of smoke is likely done for the day. I can't really tell. It just kind of exploded.
Yeah, the engine, I think the temps are just high. Remember, it got some pretty decent nose damage, so the car was going to blow either way. So unfortunate for KALUSA's day after such a good run. That's going to really hurt him in the points.
We jumped on board and heard nothing but ambient noise, so the 20 car is definitely done for the day after winning. And remember, as you mentioned, second in the points coming into the night. That's going to hurt pretty dearly. In the background, there's a little bit of scrappiness going on here. Hernandez and LAKATOS racing for 11th with that 10th.
LAKATOS trying to hold on as Hernandez ripping the bottom lane. Looks like Hernandez is going to get it done off too.
Oh man, that was tight.
When he gets it done, and no, not quite done yet. Here comes LAKATOS back on the inside.
Jordan Ashland seeing opportunity, smelling a little bit of blood in the water here. Sturgill and Massey going at it for 8th.
Up ahead of them, Turner and Halper, and they found each other yet again. They haven't been able to get separated from each other on this restart.
Yeah, Turner's luck has not really turned around with the caution. I thought that would help him, but it hasn't really helped him as much as I would have thought. I would expect him to be running more towards the top 5, but it seems like he's going the wrong direction, especially with the drivers behind him closing in. Up front, though, Cabot, Stravado, and Sweeting. You can bring Carr into the mix now, but again, no one's been able to crack that nut out front in the 77.
Here's see also when these guys come down to pit lane up the restart around lap
75-ish?
Yeah, actually, I think it's closer to 79. 79 was the restart lap. So these guys are only going to have to go about 50 laps on these tires. So you can cut this into almost 25 lap stints, really, and to the end. So I can see these guys coming. Actually, no, is that right? It's not right.
No, it's you can.
No, sorry.
Math.
It's 70 laps. They can go about 70-ish laps.
35 laps.
Yes, 35. Yes, okay, that makes more sense.
So they're aiming for a pit stop in about 20 laps time. So about lap 105 to 110 would be where we'd expect him to go.
Yeah.
Braxton DEWEESE out of line on LAKATOS. This is for 10th. This caution has helped the 51 a lot. He was really stuck. And now he's been able to kind of unstick himself, but LAKATOS is going to try to go back down to the bottom.
I'm going to try to make it sick. 51's going to have a little bit of a better run off the corner. He's just slowly going to clear the 50 by the time he hits turn 1.
Bailey Turner dropped off the timing and scoring screen.
Yes.
We see what happened to him.
Looks like he just hold up forward. Or he didn't hold up forward, so he actually came down. He actually came down pit lane and disconnected.
Huh. No visible damage either, huh?
Yeah, no, I don't see anything. I might have had to go and do something. He didn't hit a single car. It doesn't look like he was having really trouble. He's just battling with Halper and having a clean battle with him. And just turned down pit lane, had to go. So hopefully everything's okay for Turner.
Yeah, that's a weird one for sure. And for the lead, Stravado is as close as he's been to Cabot in the last couple laps, a 10th and a half.
He's been trying a few different times here, and he's going to be running more at a time the longer this run goes on. You have to make something happen, but it's really a big question of what can you do besides physically moving the guy out of the lane. The question really is if there isn't too much.
Well, with 50 laps to go, maybe, but with 20, it's a different story.
Also, Chuck Sweden surprisingly dropping back to 5th.
Yeah, he did not have a good. He didn't fire off as well as I would have expected. I mean, he drove up to these guys
and then, third,
and then fell back.
Yeah, the last 5 laps have been kind of miserable for him. He's been dropping back quite a bit, so I'm not sure if he just burned up too much stuff trying to, we saw him closing in earlier on. Not sure if he just burned up too much of his stuff trying to get there or what the deal is, but now Zach Carr looking to be a big factor as he's starting to close in on the back of Stravado.
Again, Cabot and Carr have won. Stravado, CARWILE, and Sweeting have not, so 3 of our top 5 would be new winners tonight. And again, the big storyline of this season is that all 9 races this year have been won by a different driver. No repeat winners in the 2021 season for ORL just yet.
We have a pretty decent chance of that streak breaking tonight with Carr and Cabot especially dominating this race up near the front. Stravado hoping to try to break that again. Looking there, 90 laps led for Cabot, and I doubt that. I definitely think he's going to get to the triple digits at this rate.
He only has to go 10 more laps to lead over 100. Here's the 90 and the 26 almost having it coming together down there in turn 1. I think Halpern being a little bit defensive.
Yeah, defensive is one way to put it. Really trying to get Sturgill to back out of that. Sturgill went around trying to slow the car down enough, and here comes a 23 of MASSEY. Gonna throw his hat to the ring up the inside.
Where did that come from, the throw the hat in the ring thing?
That's a great question. I don't know.
It's like, the catbird seat. Like, what the hell happened in the 60s that everyone has these weird sayings? Catbird seats, they're throwing hats in the ring, and,
Oh, here, I got it. In the beginning of the 19th century, anyone that wanted to challenge a boxer to a gloveless or bare-knuckle fight would physically throw their hat into the boxing ring.
Why would you want to do that?
I think because they would fight for money.
Like a top hat? Like some gentleman named, I don't even know what were people named back in the day. Ezekiel. Whoa, this is tight. 26 and 23 almost having to come in together down there. And Michael Ezekiel Sturgill about to throw his hat in the ring.
He's gonna start these parties. Sturgill, I can't imagine too terribly happy with the 26 after a little bit of a blocking to turn one a few laps ago. So,
race car drivers have long memories. Even in the simulated world when everyone's not actually a race car driver. Well, we're closing in on our last pit stop sequence. You could easily make it to the end on fuel from here. Does anybody try the undercut? I mean, that's a brave strategy, but it could work.
No, I think these guys are going to ideally probably head more towards lap 110 is looking to be the number. I imagine a lot of these guys are going to be heading down onto pit lane. Servato, looking at him, he's lost quite a bit of time to leave. They can see the gap now after running in the coattails of the 77 for quite a while. Is finally now starting to lose some time. And Carr potentially looking like he may be able to get past Servato for second.
I've just been now realizing how many old time references exist. Riding in the coattails. I don't think people have had coattails for 100 years. Oh, man. I want to know, like, you know how, like, Ryan Marine, like, used the term cat amongst the pigeons, referring to somebody chasing somebody? And I was so jealous of, like, what books is he reading to get these analogies? Like, it's like you got to read, like, a book of poetry from 1750 to, like, know all the things that guy knows. It's impressive.
I wish I was better at English so I could come up with some more creative things, but I suck at it.
Matthew closed down pit lane. This will likely be his final stop in 17th. So with 40 laps to go, make it 39 this time through. Ryan CARWILE is up to 4th. Is he the dark horse that we haven't mentioned enough yet this race?
Who knows, honestly, at this point. I think he is looking pretty solid. Can he get up into the side of that top 3 is going to be the big question. I think he might just decide to kind of sit in right here again. He's having a really solid points haul. So let's see if he can continue on. Also of note, I was just kind of randomly going through the field, and I stumbled across Robert GABA, and he's been shutting the engine on and off.
Well, 24 laps ago was the last time he was on pit lane. So he'd have to go 65 laps. Now that seems like a lot, but maybe with a lot of saving can make it work.
Now, I'm not sure when he started saving. He would have had to start saving probably by the beginning of the run to just save a lot of gas like that. But, and the big thing, we were talking about this before. Yeah, you could save a lot of the fuel, but you can't really save tires like that. You can't just turn the tires off and not have them wear out. So I think that's going to be the bigger problem for him, more so than saving the gas. But I mean, I bought him for trying something.
Well, Jay Ray Bay also just let us know that throwing in the towel is a way to signal defeat. So we've got throwing the hat. Wow. Throwing the hat in the ring versus throwing in the towel. You know what? I think I just have to enhance my announcer ability. I'm just going to go pick out some books from the Chicago Library from like 1672 and read them front to back, and then I'll come back and don't put the cart before the horse and the blah blah blah, all the other old timer sayings.
Ooh, Chuck Sweeting gonna wrestle his car down into pit lane a little bit sideways, and a little bit of a lockup there. So, whoa, as well. Jesus, these guys are really heading down pit road in a hurry.
They got places to be. Zach Halpern wants to be on pit lane in the pit stall.
It's an aggressive move by Chuck Sweeting, who is arguably one of the best guys at saving tires this race. So I'm doing a really good job on the first long green flag run. Was able to save them very well. So he's actually going to be a bit more aggressive here and push more. Actually, I should say this actually may work out for him because he's going to have to save a little bit more.
Right side tires for the 74. That is a bold call. But imagine all the time it's going to save him with the undercut and the 2-tire stop. It's probably going to be about a 10-second gap or more.
Yeah, we'll see if it's going to be worth that 5 seconds of saving. I mean, again, these guys know exactly how the left runs have been doing. So I think according to that, they're going to be planning out the strategy. You're going to see now that one driver has made a trip down. Anyone else can also decide, maybe start thinking coming down a pit lane. Because I'd say now is really a decent time to make a trip on down.
Connor Horn was saying throw the towel in the hat into the ring. And confuse everybody, divide by 0. And then J. Rebe says that surrendering is the white flag.
I mean, towels are usually white, right? So, by association.
Closing in on 30 to go, and Cabot continues to lead by about 2 seconds over this man right here, AJ Stravato. There goes the 74 on by on a very bold strategy. I want to know what lap times are going to look like here. So let's watch the 74 for a lap starting now. Let's see what he can turn. Again, a new lap on fresh tires, 32.7, 32.9, somewhere around there. If you can run 33 seconds or better, he's in a pretty good spot.
You visually see how much time he made up in the corner on Cabot, even out of the corner too. Heading down into turn 1, look at the speed difference. He's able to head down there 5 miles an hour faster.
There's 77 of Cabot, who is still leading this race as Sweeting comes out of turn 4. Is it well, it's only 33.5. That's pretty significantly slower than I would have expected. Zach Carr hits pit lane.
Yeah, he did have a little bit of a bobble in 3 and 4, so it'll probably be a little bit faster had he not had that happen. But yeah, Zach Carr making a trip on down, Jonathan Hernandez, Jordan Ashland as well. So starting to see more and more drivers decide to come down to pit lane. Big question now is going to be, when does Cabot make the trip down, especially now that he sees that Chuck Sweeting's gotten up ahead. Does he want to cover his bases, or is he not going to worry about the 70?
I wouldn't worry about the 74. I don't really think the strategy is going to work out. I mean, it's going to gain him a lot of time in the short term, but as soon as that 77 pits, caution! Ooh, that's really interesting. Who was it? Oh, it's CARWILE in the 71.
By the sounds of it on the radio, he's angry at someone, so I think had a little bit of help getting turned around.
Oh, was it the 26? Wow! Oh, wow! Oh, I think, was the 71 slowing?
He was coming down the pit lane.
Well, he wasn't off the racetrack yet, though, so I'm not really sure that you can blame that on the 26. He just sort of parked it in the middle of the track. So that, to me, that's on the 71, unless he had alerted 26 that he was coming to pit lane.
He did say that he was pitting. He called out on the radio that he was pitting.
Yeah, that's a little different. Still think you just got to be a little bit lower on the racetrack before you pull, you drop the anchor here. 26 was trending to go around him on the outside, just wasn't quite expecting that. 33 just slid by. I do think still that was mostly on the 71 car. So with that being said, that just totally ruined the 74 strategy, didn't it?
Yeah, I would say so. So he's going to be back in 9th. So that's going to be unfortunate because he's looking at being back, at least cycling out to be near the lead, if not very close to it. So for Chuck Sweeting, made a gamble, didn't quite work out.
So Cabot will pit a lonely first place because he's going to leave the box before anybody else is even close. Ray Massey going to come out in 2nd. And where's the 33 of Stravato? So things got a little bit wonky here, I think.
Let's see. For Stravato, he came down a little, I think, right as that caution came out.
Oh, okay, I see. So he already pit. So that it's going to give the lead to Adam Cabot. Ryan CARWILE is going to hit pit lane likely this time through. So we're good to the end from here. Now it's just a straight-up sprint. I think we're going to see a handful of yellows now because the aggression level is going to jump way to the roof.
Yeah, also a lot of new names up near the front of the field. It's a lot of the front runners came in trying to get a one-up on the strategy. So other than really Cabot, the rest of the order is quite mixed up.
Running down the order right now, it's going to be Cabot, Ray Massey in the 23. Good climb for him. Then Braxton DeWeese in the 51. That was a really good result for him. He's going to end up in 3rd. LAKATOS and Sturgill 4th and 5th. GABA, Stravato, Sweeting, Wright, and Zach Carr should round out the top 10. Well, that's going to mix things up. I mean, so who up here is 1? So Cabot is 1, and that's it. All the way back to Jeff Wright in 8th.
Pretty much, yeah, it's exactly right. So you got a lot of guys who have a chance at a first win, but considering just how much the 77's been annihilating the field this race, It's going to be tough to see. Well, who knows? We might see someone try to throw their head into the ring. I'm really looking at the 23 of Massey because he's been showing some pretty solid pace. Is it enough to be up near the front and lead? I'm not quite too sure, but I mean, it's been for him. He's been, every time we've been at him, he's pretty much been working his way forward through the race. He was up in, I think, 7th or 6th by the time that caution came out. So it's been a good run for him. We'll see if he can take it to the lead. Now, what a best run for that, from 23rd all the way to 1st.
I think it's all about short run pace now, and I'm not really sure that we've had enough short runs to know who's going to be fast. We know the 77's pretty good, but I think he can be beaten. It's all going to come down to the restart here in about a lap's time. So still a lot left to be decided here as we get the 1 to green, and a bunch of wave arounds going to get taken here. Zach Carr is going to be one of those who should get the wave around. So a 3rd caution right in the middle of our final pit stop sequence. And this will be with about 25 laps to go, 26 laps to go, so about 15 minutes worth of racing. Let's pretend that the 77 is off the table. If the 77 does not win, who wins?
Honestly, I really don't. I really don't. My money's completely on the 77.
Yeah, hard to bet against him, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is hard. I mean, if there are other, like guys like Zach Carr, or what happened with CARWILE, he was back up near the front, Sweeting as well. I would say, maybe those guys definitely had a shot. Strado as well too. Would have had a shot, but I just don't see it. It's gonna be really hard to see. I want to be proven wrong. We'll see if he can be proven wrong. Got a lot of unknowns up near the front of the field. They've been mostly midfield and back, so we'll see what they can do with some new track position.
Wave around still coming from the back, but up front, about 5 rows of drivers. Green flag back in the air. 27 laps to go. CABOT's gone.
They got a fantastic restart. DEWEESE trying to work his way up the inside of Massey now, and also Sturgill throwing it up the inside of LAKATOS, as you see these guys going 3 and 4 wide in 1 and 2.
Jeff Wright going the long way around. The 75 lifted big time. Still 4 wide. Look at the 2 car rocketing on the high side. Sturgill's going to block him. He's still going to try to squeeze up there. Whoa. Touch. Uh-oh.
Oh, and Sturgill's trying to save it, save it, save it.
2 cars in the
still
wall.
A little bit loose. Oh, boy.
Man, that was wild for a lap or 2, huh? Here's Ray Massey and DEWEESE side by side for 2nd.
Massey's trying to get him to back out of it and maybe have a shot at CABOT, who's already started to check out. LAKATOS also trying to fight his way up into 2nd place. There's Stravato sitting back in 5th.
And Stravato, big elevator move top to bottom to grab 4th. Now sets its sights on 3rd. That's DEWEESE in the 51. LAKATOS up the racetrack, out of control. Big slide. Hangs on.
We'll see if we can lose some momentum though. Down the straightaway. Speaking of which, there's Massey and DEWEESE still side by side for 2nd. Neither driver wanted to yield.
And Stravato's going to try to find a way around as those 2 fight for. Whoa, the 51's out of control. Here comes the 33.
That made the 33's job a lot easier, getting them back single file. So going to work around 51 now, set his sights on the 23. And they can finally have a shot at getting back to CABOT, but he's already lost a lot of time being stuck back in traffic.
Chuck Sweeting's up to 4th on this restart, and actually this has worked out okay for him. I don't know if that strategy would have been good enough for him to win, and this strategy at least puts him back equal with everybody else to give him a chance. So, I mean, this worked out actually okay initially. It looked like it was going to be all that great. But out front, nobody is touching the 77 tonight. He just showed up and is putting on a clinic for everybody else.
See, also that saying too, putting on a clinic.
Someone's got to look that one up. Man, I think 85% of broadcasting is about coming up with references that everybody agrees are things, but nobody actually knows where they come from.
Everyone's just saying it.
Right? Everyone's like, yeah, that's a saying. That makes sense. And everyone kind of knows what it means.
Yeah. But I mean, the way it works, I mean, that's essentially how language should work.
But the context is so long gone, like it's not even relevant anymore. Putting on a clinic. Origin.
As you look at Stravato and the 74, Chuck Sweeting fight for position. Now Sweeting trying to make that outside lane work. And we're talking about this outside lane not really being there for the majority of the night, but looks like it's starting to come in, and the 74 making quick work of it.
Oh, it's a bit of a scrape with the fence there off into turn 3.
Oh, that was some neck. He actually wasn't too close from. He was a bit close to it, but didn't actually get it.
It doesn't seem like the origin is clear on putting on a clinic. So nobody even knows where they come. Like, not even the people that made it know where it comes from. I mean, we all know what it means. It's just a matter of, like, we don't know where it comes from, right? Like, who was the guy that was like, yeah, it's a clinic, we're going to put it on, you know? Not this guy. 20 laps to go this time through, and it's a 1 second lead. But Massey was not far off last time, less than a 10th slower. And that time was 2/10 slower.
Yeah, it looks like Servato, he's actually not going forward. It looks like he's about to fall back under prey from DEWEESE and LAKATOS.
LAKATOS opens up the door to the inside of the 51. Has a little overlap here.
Now LAKATOS here looked like he was going to start dropping back, but he's picked the pace back up with the 51. Now they're both trying to work their way around the 33 Servato. This is really quite surprising, but I guess Servato might have used up his tires just too much trying to work his way back.
Zach Carr, for all the pace that he had in the early part of the race, is not, well, I guess he did restart, sort of got caught out on the stop sequence. 8th now looking for 7th. And he's through, but still has a little ways to go to get back to where he was running. Big lift there in turn 4 because Sturgill was still on the outside. And Servato drops 1 spot to DEWEESE and is going to drop another to LAKATOS.
LAKATOS up inside the top 5.
Hernandez and Zach Carr now door to door. And there's Ryan Carwile, who's recovered nicely from his collision. Zach Halpern, that ran into the back of him, has not recovered quite so nicely. Down in 19th. Jeff Wright was a rocket ship on the opening lap after the restart, but going the way of many of Musk's test projects has exploded and fallen back to earth a little bit. There's a reference everybody gets.
yeah. No, it's been a bit of a rough race for Wright, considering what it could have been. Some really good signs of pace from this car, but it has never been able to make the click.
So Ray Massey running in 2nd. Let's talk about him a little bit. The season, I don't think, has been particularly amazing. He is 11th right now in the standings, and it's been all over the board. It's been about half and half outside the top 20 and inside the top 10. His best finish of the season was back at Rockingham, where he finished 6th. Last week in Talladega was his 2nd best finish of the season in 8th. So this is a really good run for the number 23 Ford Mustang.
Yeah, and so he's first finished inside the top 5 as well. So really good run for him. He's just been another driver that's been showing some solid pace. Definitely worthy of finishing up here in 2nd, driving his way up here and staying there. DEWEESE also is a bit more surprising, I would say, because he's been hanging out around between 10th and 15th for the majority of the race. Then got some good track positions, making some really nice work of it up in 4th.
And Braxton DEWEESE is a relatively, well, I want to say new driver. He's new to the series this season. His best finish was also a 6th, but that came back at COTA. His 2nd best finish was a 9th. Those were the only 2 top 10s that he had. This would also be his first top 5 of the season. So both Massey and DEWEESE impressing here at Homestead.
And in this case.
And LAKATOS. And Casey comes into the night running in 7th in the standings. His best finish, a 3rd at Las Vegas 3 weeks ago. Check that, Texas, back at February 20th, and a 3rd at Las Vegas. His only 2 top 10s were both top 5s on the podium. So it's really been hit or miss, mostly miss, but sometimes hits.
Yeah, but I mean, look at those 2 finishes, 1.5 miles, and while a little bit different than some of the more cookie-cutter tracks, Homestead, looking to finish again inside the top 5. He'll have 5 of the 3.5 miles he'll have top 5 finishes at all of them if he keeps this up.
Not a lot of people that look forward to going a mile and a half, so they got to imagine Casey's one of them. Hernandez in the fence out of turn 4, and that will open the door for Ryan CARWILE, the 71.
CARWILE just trying to be on damage control now, just make up as many spots as possible after that collision. He's done a pretty good job up in the 8th.
So closing in on 10 laps to go, and once again, the 77 has been able to drive away. Have we seen a race be this dominated this season?
I was going to say, this season, no, I don't think so. I think we've had a pretty decent mix of guys up near the front. Usually we had, 3 to 5 guys that had a decent shot at winning it. Here, it's pretty much been one. Like, yeah, you could have said that, CARWILE, Servato maybe could have had something. But, or Zach Carr as well. But yeah, it's just not really been close, has it? 124 laps led of 129 runs. So it's been very one-sided tonight.
Yeah, all but 5 laps have been led by the 77. I don't think LAKATOS is done just yet. He's got DEWEESE reeled in. 2/10 between them.
And he was chasing him behind him as they worked past Servato, got a little bit separated out. He's going to absolutely send it to the inside, or try to send it to the inside in turns 1 and 2.
For Adam Cabot, it's 10 laps to go here at Homestead. 15 miles left at Homestead-Miami Speedway for the 77 of Adam Cabot. We've had no repeat winners this season. If Cabot were to win, he would break that streak and be the first multi-time winner in 2021.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing that we only got our first repeat winner by the halfway, pretty much around the halfway point of the season. It's taking so long for someone to get that second W. So see if you can keep it up. You still got 10 laps to go. A lot can happen.
And we're saying halfway point of the season. This is not a short season either. I think we're over 20 races for this one. So this is the longest season in recent memory. To go 10 rounds without a repeat is pretty insane. And let's have another look at the weather. As we get down to the last couple minutes, the track temperature has fallen almost 20 degrees throughout the day. So the track's been gripping up, and that's probably why it's been pretty hard to pass here in the second half of this race. AJ Servato is in front of CARWILE. CARWILE running a hair quicker right now. Servato on 4-lap older tires.
Yeah, this is really surprising what's happened to Servato. I'm surprised. I would have expected at least see him top 3, top 4. But he looked like he was going to be back there, but he's just been dropping like a rock this run. I'm not quite sure why.
Robert GABA in the fence out of turn 4. Got a bit of a scrape. Yeah, Servato's on 4-lap older tires than everybody else, but that might be sort of contributing, but also most of them are under yellow, so I don't see how that would have been that big of a deal. I think the track position loss in the early moments after the restart has really hurt him and slid the tires around a bit too much and beat him up too early.
LAKATOS still trying to also battle with DEWEESE for 4th place. That battle is also still ongoing.
Laps ticking down here at Homestead, and LAKATOS is a little short of a victory, but he would like to knock a couple more numbers off the finishing order tonight.
And also for 2nd place as well, Chuck Sweeting was looking like he was about to make a pass on MASSEY. To the inside, but now we're going to maybe have to try to work the long route. This has been a fantastic run. You're talking about Cabot having a great run. Sweeting, too. He's been up, down, and up the order again and again, and it's been also running extremely well.
Yeah, I really do think that caution ended up getting him back on a strategy that was a lot more sustainable. That 2-tire call was gutsy, and it could have worked. I don't think that was the one to play.
I definitely think for him, as far as finishing position, this is definitely the better call. I would have definitely liked to see if that strategy would have worked, because it's fairly unorthodox. But unfortunately, we got to see that come to fruition.
Yeah, not at a track like this, he wouldn't dare to put 2 tires on with that much left in the race. But he was willing to give it a try, and certainly would have had the track position had things panned out. Now 5 laps to go for the race leaders, and Massey feeling the pressure. They've got no chance of catching Cabot unless he makes a mistake.
Yeah, I think that's going to be one thing to hope for him with open track ahead of him. I don't think he's going to be really making a mistake anytime soon as he gets just a little bit of overlap between the 74 and the 23, but 23 is going to make that all up down the straightaway with a big run.
Massey diving deeper into the corner. I think Sweeting, look at the run he builds in the center. Different lines now. Massey goes high.
Yeah. I'm not surprised that Massey's gone high. He's been ripping the low lane's been working out pretty well. Don't see why they want to change with 4 laps to go, but I mean, that was do that. It worked out for him.
Desperation, feeling the pressure. He's trying something different to see if it's going to gain him anything. Didn't hurt him all that bad. Actually, might have worked. No other battles on the racetrack at the moment, at least not anything side by side. Fair amount of attrition tonight. Started with 25 cars, or 26 cars rather, and we are now down to 18 rolling, and only 16 on the lead lap.
Sweeting running out of time. He's only have 2 more laps after once he gets to the start-finish line. He's going to have to go on with something if he wants to finish up in second.
I'm not sure that he's got enough left. Ray Massey's been really rock solid. He's been putting on a heck of a performance. Sweeting's going to go down to the bottom and try to throttle up. Massey might have slipped there just a little bit, but the run down the backstretch should give that back, unless Sweeting can side draft here. Got to the corner panel.
Yeah, he's definitely there. He's going to try to do as much as he can. This is the most alongside he's been. I don't think he's been alongside in 3 and 4 just yet.
Shorter way around for the 74 car. As we come out of turn number 4, white flag in the air for Adam Cabot. One more time around, second place, a fight for P2.
See, Massey's now going to have to stay up along the top side. Doesn't even have the choice of getting back down to the bottom. Sweeting going to blow by on the inside. We'll see, can Massey get enough of a run?
I'm not sure that he can. It's going to be a fight back to the checkers for those two. And while they fight, Adam Cabot in the 77 back at Rockingham took a victory. Back then, it was continuing the streak of a unique race winner for every round this season. Tonight, that streak will end. Adam Cabot wins round 10 of the 2021 Outsider Racing League season. Sweeting second, Massey third, DEWEESE, Casey LAKATOS the rest of the top 5. Great results for 4 of the top 5 as the 37 slides across the line. He'll come home in 11th spot. I'm super glad they fixed the white and checkered animations. They finally work on the flagger. They never used to work. Adam Cabot, his second win of the season, the only driver to have more than a 1 in the wins column. Celebratory bump there from the 33.
Yeah, in a dominating fashion. How many laps did he end up leading?
He led in 140 laps, 136, all but 5.
That is crazy.
To cross the line, Cabot celebrates his second win of the season at Homestead. Have a look here at our race results. Top of the order, Adam Cabot in the 77, led all but 5 laps. That's about one of the most dominant races we've seen in a long time. Sweeting second, Massey third, DEWEESE, LAKATOS. Great finishes, a handful of drivers in the top 10 that really earned this one today.
Yeah, this is a really solid drive, and also trying to just look down for some other surprises down the order. Carl probably not going to be too happy of finishing all the way back in 8th. But it is going to just have to take it and head into next week and looking back at some other drivers. Jeff Wright, maybe disappointed finishing back in 13th. He's been used all over the leaderboards from back to front to back again with his we're talking about unorthodox strategies. He was definitely on one with Halpern, who's going to finish also back in 19th, retired.
Down the rest of the order there, Stephen Black and Brandon Bowers, Caleb Weekly, all out fairly early. Bryce KALUSA. Crash damage out of turn 4. Unfortunately, his points tonight will take him down and tumble down the order just a little bit. We've got Ray Massey waiting. A 3rd place finish for the number 23. Wow, what a drive. Your first top 5 of the season. Take us through your night. It seemed like it was pretty great driving from the back, and then that caution late in the race put you in a great spot.
Yeah, I was happy that caution came out. I hate my America teammate kind of got wiped out. We had good track position there, but it kind of worked out in my favor. Kind of worked my way up from the back. Passing was really tough. All the multiple lanes was kind of fun, and ripped the wall there in 1 and 2, and had a lot of fun.
Came down to the last couple laps between you and Chuck Sweeting in that 74. You changed lines from the bottom to the top as a sort of a defensive measure. Did you find that worked at any point during the day, or was it sort of just a move out of desperation to just try to keep that 74 back there?
No, I'd been running those lines all night. In 1 and 2, my driving style, I'd just get real loose down on the bottom, so I'd have to go to the top and avoid wrecking. So I thought about just trying to block him, but I didn't want to risk it. I needed a good run. So, yeah, this was a good P2. Congrats to Adam for the win.
Well, your best finish of the season. Congratulations. We'll see you next week. Thanks for talking to us, and we'll see you next time.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. We'll move on now to Chuck Sweeting, who finished second. His best finish of the season as well, the number 74. Chuck, a really good night. A unique strategy that you were trying to play that the caution sort of threw a wrench into things there. Take us back through that strategy call. Did you think it was going to work out, and were you happy to see that caution fly looking back at it now?
No, I'm not happy that I saw it, but I don't know if it was going to work or not. Adam was just so fast. The only shot I had was to take 2 tires and short pit, and wow, it was a handful on 2 tires, but you know, I thought it would save me some time, and I don't know how it was going to work out, but it was worth a shot. And then caution came out right as I got my lap back and was able to work back up to second there at the end. But it was a great race overall.
Well, it's been a pretty decent season for you. This will be a good points night. We've got Phoenix, Atlanta, Road America coming up on the next 3 rounds. Your thoughts on the upcoming tracks? You got a kind of a short track, sort of intermediate, then an intermediate, then a road course. Your most excited one between Phoenix, Atlanta, and Road America?
Well, 2 of them are my favorite. You'll have to figure out which one I don't like.
Which one does not belong? I'm going to guess that's the road course coming up in May.
Yeah, I'll try to stay on the track there and just finish. That's all I can do. Watkins Glen I'm not too bad at, but the other ones I struggle with.
Well, Chuck, tonight, no struggles. Second place after starting in 10th. Congratulations. We'll see you in Phoenix.
What?
Adam Cabot finally breaks the streak. So far this season, every race was won by a unique driver until tonight, Adam. Second win of the season, Rockingham, and now we can add Homestead to the list. Congratulations. Take us through your night. Wasn't very exciting, probably, except for looking out the mirror. 136 laps led of 140.
Yeah, that pretty much sums it up. All right, guys, we're going to end the interview now. No, that was, yeah, I thought that the high line was going to come in that race. I was really trying to work it in practice, but it just never really did. You could get runs off the corner a couple times, but the bottom was really the place to go. And I kind of just got fortunate getting the pole and just really got to enjoy clean air most of the race. And I know from practice that it's really hard to pass if you're that second car. So, you know, obviously I was doing some things right because I pulled out by quite a bit there over that run, but at the same time, when you're that trailing car, you have to work the tires so much harder to keep up. But you know, it would have been really interesting if the race went green to the end there, because I know AJ hit it a lot earlier than I did. I actually didn't even make my stop by the time the caution came out, but I know some guys took 2. And I was just planning on taking the conservative strategy of splitting that last run directly in half, taking 4 tires. I didn't want to do any risk because I knew that I had, you know, a lot of speed. I didn't want to try strategy and throw the race out that way, but at the same time, I think that, you know, they could have pulled it off, or it would have been close. So I got fortunate with that. They put a lot of good cars in the back, and then at that point, it was just smooth sail to the finish.
Well, Adam, it was a really impressive result. Again, that was the most dominant race we've seen in a while. Congratulations. We'll see you next week, and thanks for talking to us.
Thanks, Kyle.
Thank you. Wrapping things up here relatively quickly. We've got Homestead out of the way. We've got Phoenix and Atlanta coming up, then the road course in a couple weeks' time. Your thoughts on the race tonight and Adam Cabot's domination?
Yeah, I mean, essentially it was the Adam Cabot show up near the front of the field. No one really able to touch him. Save for Strauda, who tried in the middle part of the race, just wasn't quite able to get there. But yeah, just an excellent drive from the 77. I don't think really anyone else quite deserved the win as much as he did, considering just how he just went out there and drove a fantastic race. Chuck Sweeting, great run from him, and as well as Ray Massey, really solid top 3 there. And yeah, so some decent winners, some guys losing out quite a bit, especially KALUSA and CARWILE will take a slight hit in their points, but see how it plays out next week.
That's it for now. Thanks so much for watching. ORL Round 10 complete from Homestead.